Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for June 20th, 2012. It is currently 8:05 a.m. and temperatures are already rapidly on the rise throughout much of the New York City and Philadelphia metropolitan area. Temperatures range from the upper 60s to lower 70s along the immediate coast and lower to a few mid 70s just away from the coast. Now, the important thing to keep an eye on, besides the temperatures, which will rise rapidly into the upper 80s to lower 90s along the immediate coast and mid to upper 90s just away from the coast, is also the dew points. The dew points are already in the upper 60s, pushing into the lower 70s, and that is going to mean, unfortunately, very humid weather conditions and a serious threat with heat exhaustion and heat stroke as the heat index pushes above 100 degrees today. So clearly we are having our first real heat wave of the summer, and summer actually begins tonight at 7:04 p.m. as the summer solstice kicks in. So let's take a look at this forecast and take a look first at the water vapor satellite picture. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is obviously we don't have any threat for precipitation today as high pressure is in full control, but you can see we are under the influence of a very powerful heat ridge that extends from the southern plains all the way to New England and the western Atlantic. The surface high pressure is starting to basically focus itself along the southeast coast and will eventually shift well off the southeast coast right around here. And with this high pressure system taking hold in that position, we'll be under the influence of southwesterly winds. Now, I'm using the water vapor here to show an important point. Notice all the sinking air over much of the Mississippi River Valley, and you can see we have plenty of moisture at the mid-levels dropping south from New England. Now, the important key point here is that to understand that the heart of this heat wave is not going to be in the northern mid-Atlantic, but instead is going to be over the southern plains and Mississippi River Valley. What's happening here is that as our negative NAO or trough over the northern Atlantic weakens, that leads to our ridge being able to expand. That's why we're having this heat wave. And I think we're going to see a similar weather pattern continuing to unfold through the summer, back and forth as we are on the edge of these heat waves and the highest weather conditions. How hot is it expected to get over the southern plains? Well, temperatures for highs. We're not talking about the heat index. The highs are expected to push into the lower to mid 100s. That's some heat. Luckily, we're not going to be dealing with that in the northern mid-Atlantic. Instead, I think we're going to be in the mid to upper 90s just away from the coast, which unfortunately is going to push the heat index into dangerous levels. As a result, well, we do have heat advisories and excessive heat warnings issued throughout the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. I just want to show the infrared satellite picture just again to affirm that we really don't have much in the way of cloud cover here. It's going to be a sunny day, that is for sure. We're just going to use some caution with this heat. Remember, drink plenty of water, and most importantly, if you have a chance to stay out of that sun, get into the shade and stay cool, because usually what happens with the first heat wave of the summer is that it actually feels much worse than what it actually is because we're not used to this type of heat. So take some precautions, drink plenty of water, don't try to overexert yourself. Take some time to just be prepared for the first heat wave of this summer. So first we're going to take a look, next we're going to take a look at the model guidance using the GFS model guidance. It's pretty much on par now with the European model guidance. Now, as you know, I've been warning constantly that while the highest conditions are going to be today and tomorrow, the hot and humid weather conditions, and I guess you could throw hazy in there too, will not abate until Saturday evening, or should I say really Sunday morning, as a more powerful cold front moves through. So here we are for this afternoon. Again, plenty of sinking air as our upper level ridge settles over much of the eastern United States. This purple here means that air is sinking, and that means we are going to warm up substantially for this afternoon. Similar weather conditions can be expected tomorrow, with temperatures once again pushing into the upper 80s to lower 90s along the immediate coast, and of course the mid to upper 90s away from the coast with a heat index over 100 degrees in many locations. Do not be surprised if locations like Newark, Philadelphia, Trenton, anywhere, New York City, anywhere where you're going to have a lot of concrete temperatures could push up to around 98, 99 degrees because of the urban heat island effect with this type of pattern. Now let's get to Friday because it's going to be pretty interesting here. I've been warning that the cold front that's going to move through on Friday is not going to be very impressive, and you can see why with the bulk of the energy, the bulk of the lifting, and the bulk of the cold air advection all focused in Canada, well away from the northern mid-Atlantic. Yes, there will be a threat for scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, but I do not expect this to be a widespread threat. More importantly, I do not expect it to be a substantial knockdown in temperatures as this cold front moves through. So for Friday, I'm looking for temperatures in the upper 80s to mid 90s throughout the northern mid-Atlantic. Of course, cooler conditions along the coast with the upper 80s. Mid 90s can be expected over the Philadelphia metropolitan area, especially around the Delaware River Valley. Lower 90s in New York City will be possible. You're going to be in that 88 to 92 range in New York City, and I think 89 to 93 range in the Philadelphia metropolitan area. Of course, if the showers and thunderstorms are more expansive, temperatures will be slightly cooler because of the rainfall. But as we move into Saturday, really we don't see a substantial change in the air mass. We're going to be clearing out with the cold front moving off the coast and washing out, and temperatures once again will range anywhere from the upper 80s to lower 90s throughout the entire northern mid-Atlantic. Dew points will remain in the 60s, and that means we're going to remain humid, which means that our heat index will remain somewhere in the mid to upper 90s. Not as hot as what we're experiencing today and tomorrow, but still rather uncomfortable. The real cool down and the return to more tranquil weather conditions can be expected as we move into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. A more powerful cold front is expected to move through on Sunday, leading to much cooler weather conditions with widespread showers and thunderstorms expected on Sunday afternoon as the cold front moves through, followed by a much cooler air mass taking hold for Monday and Tuesday. If we can move into the forecast here. Of course, model guidance. There we go. There we go. So here we are for Monday night. That cold front exits off the coast. We end up with cooler weather conditions expected by Monday, with temperatures returning into the upper 70s to mid 80s for highs on Monday afternoon and Tuesday afternoon, and of course much lower humidity. So that's going to be a big break in this heat wave. We should see the end of this hot and humid weather pattern by Saturday evening. Sunday morning, we're going to continue to see a threat for scattered showers and thunderstorms, possibly extending into Sunday afternoon. We clear out Sunday evening. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we end up much drier, much more comfortable, with low humidity and temperatures ranging in the upper 70s to mid 80s. So yes, there is an end to this heat wave. But I just also want to point out, over the southern plains, the heat remains on. It remains very hot, where temperatures over the southern plains will push well over 100 degrees for highs. Let's not even talk about the heat index. And eventually, once this trough weakens, that heat will expand to the east once again. Look for around July, early July, Independence Day. Well, that's your forecast discussion for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. You can follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a wonderful day, and please stay safe out there.